Hi there. Thank you for joining us, folks. I can still see we've got a number of people coming in, but I would like to welcome you to our new students information session. And again, thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Sarah, and I work at the Service Hub here at TMU. So we will get underway as people continue to kind of file in a little bit here. Again, welcome. We are so glad to have you with us starting in September. We're going to go over a number of different kind of next steps for you to get prepared for the start of studies in the fall. First, we would like to open with a land acknowledgement. Toronto is in the Dish with One Spoon territory. The Dish with One Spoon is a treaty between the Anishinaabe, Mississaugas, and the Haudenosaunee that bound them to share the territory and protect the land. Subsequent Indigenous nations and peoples, Europeans and newcomers have been invited into this treaty in the spirit of peace, friendship, and respect. The dish is sometimes called the bowl, represents what we know as Southern Ontario, from the Great Lakes to Quebec and from Lake Simcoe into the United States. We all eat out of the dish, all of us that share this territory, with only one spoon. This means that we have to share the responsibility of ensuring the dish is never empty, which includes taking care of the land and the creatures we share it with. Importantly, there are no knives at the table, representing that we must keep the peace. I would like to get into a little bit more detail about what we'll be covering today in our session. So we've got a fair number of topics to get through, but we'll kind of make it probably before that 7 o'clock time frame. We're going to talk about your first steps for confirming your offer of admission, setting up your TMU email address, getting your one card, accessing your various funding options, navigating the undergraduate calendar and your MyServiceHub account, how you can go about adding classes, dropping classes, looking at your schedule, and looking at your fees account as well. We'll also briefly touch on navigating your D2L or your course shells and kind of give you some ideas for what's next and what to expect upcoming. As we go through the session today and go through these topics, I invite you to use our Q&A option at the bottom of the screen. Often with Zoom meetings, you may get comfortable with using the chat function, for example. Because this is a larger sort of webinar format, you don't have access to use the chat, but you can use the Q&A. So just feel free to pop any questions that you may have in that Q&A box as the time goes by. And we have a fantastic team of Service Hub staff available and waiting to answer any questions that you have coming in. I believe that there's no option to kind of turn on your microphone or your camera or anything like that. So don't worry that you've done that accidentally. With the format of the webinar, it automatically has your camera and microphone turned off. All right, so I did mention briefly that I work at the Service Hub here at TMU. So we're just going to get into a very brief overview of what the Service Hub actually is. So we are considered a one-stop shop for the registrar's office. The registrar does a lot of the kind of administrative aspects of university. So we handle questions about undergraduate admissions. Many of you folks may have actually already interacted with us over the course of your time applying. We can answer questions about student fees, MyServiceHub assistance, which is your online student account. We can do proof of enrollment letters for folks who have RESP funding, and we'll get into a little bit more detail on that process as well. We also can help with financial assistance or OSAP inquiries, and also Chang School enrollment support. So first things first, you want to make sure that you are confirming your offer. So the number one step here is, of course, to accept your offer of admission. This is usually done on OUAC if you've applied through OUAC, or it may be done through your MyServiceHub account if you applied using a TMU application. Most people here have probably already confirmed their offers of admission. The next step is, of course, to pay your tuition deposit. That's done through your online banking, or through one of our other payment options on the website. And you can always confirm that that's been received by looking at your student account on MyServiceHub and looking out for a credit or a negative number. That's kind of what you want to see when it comes to making that payment. And then the third step is, of course, to meet your admission conditions. So I understand that for a number of you folks joining us today, you may actually have admission conditions due today based on your offer of admission, where some others might have it earlier or later, but I know that a lot of folks do have it today. I just want to quickly point out that unfortunately, we're not really able to answer direct questions about your specific application during the session today. That would require a little bit more one-on-one talk time between us and yourself. So please feel free to give us a call at the Service Hub. It is past business hours now, but you can always give us a call tomorrow, shoot us an email, or talk to us on chat if you need further clarification about your admission conditions. So a couple things here. The first is that we're going to have a look at the new students webpage. This has a number of different topics that are directly related to what we're covering in our presentation today. And it's a really fantastic reference point for newly admitted students to help you get situated. And you can kind of think of it as a checklist for what to look out for over the course of the summer in order to get yourself ready for September. Another thing I wanted to point out is that we do have QR codes on the screen throughout the presentation. A lot of this presentation is going to be guiding you through how to sort of navigate the different aspects of the website and the different important pages that you're going to want to be referencing. To make it a little bit easier for you, we have the QR code displayed. So you can feel free to scan that and have it take you directly to the website on the page that we're discussing. So we'll have a quick look at the new students webpage here. Again, you can scan that QR code if you'd like to go to it. And you can see it actually gets into a number of different areas like academics, student life, financial questions, your student portal, your email, your one card, and other resources. It's really everything you need to get yourself ready for the fall. Under academics, for example, it talks about meeting your admission conditions. You can just expand that little plus sign and it's going to open it up with more information. Or you can open all if you wanted to kind of scan through every topic. You can do transfer credits, talking to your department, academic accommodations, details on enrolling in courses, and more. And then, of course, we've got, student life, talking about residence, campus services, orientation, your financials, so your tuition deposit, scholarships, OSAP, RESP funding, other external funding, and jobs on campus. And then, of course, your one card, your student portal, your email, all of that. So you'll notice it sounds familiar because these are the very same topics that we're kind of covering today in the session. But just know that you can always reference back to that new students webpage if you're looking for follow-up or to reference back to that information. So for your TMU email address, in early August, you will automatically be prompted to set up your new username and email address when you log in at my.torontomu.ca. To access your email, you're going to log in, and then you see a kind of black bar along the top that has different tabs or different options. You'll want to go to the option for apps and select Gmail. Once you select Gmail from the apps, again, this will happen in early August, so not just yet, but in maybe about a month from now or just before then, you will be able to just automatically set it up. It's going to prompt you when you log in to create a username and to set up your email account. Setting up and regularly checking your TMU email address is important. Any communications that are sent from your instructors, program department, or the school in general will be sent to your TMU email address. And we do ask that you please send any emails that are going out to the school. If you have to email your prof, your department, or even us here at the Service Hub, we always want you to send that from your official school email account. I know that in particular, some professors or program departments may not see or be able to respond to emails that are not sent by your TMU email address. So very important to kind of get that up and running as soon as you can in early August. We will, of course, respond to emails from various addresses before you have it set up, so not to worry. If you don't have it set up just yet, There's no need to stress about that, but once it is available, we do ask that you set it up as soon as you can. In terms of getting your student ID, we call that a one card. So the one card is one of the most important kind of tools that you'll need to access campus. It serves as your official university identification. It grants you access to all of the buildings on campus. It's your library card and your gym card. These are services that are included in your tuition and ancillary fees. We've got a couple, beautiful gyms, really nice facilities. And if you want to go work out, you're going to need that one card to get in. It's also used for printing and photocopying on campus. You can use it for your meal plan if you've got that, if you're living in residence, and it can be used for other food purchases, like the Hub Cafe, for example, on campus. You can make payment with your student card if you load it with some funds. And then, of course, having a student card can get you discounts on athletics tickets, shopping. There's a Go Transit discount. There's all kinds of stuff that you can do with that one card. So we do ask that you apply for the one card on the website before August 23rd. Again, the QR code here is set up to take you to those application instructions and allow you to apply. So basically, once you've applied and it's after August 28th, you're going to receive an email with instructions on how to go pick up that card. Usually you will come to campus, one of two locations, either in our gym in Kerr Hall or at the one card office, but they will give you those specific instructions in the email when it's time to come pick up your card. So definitely a good thing to think about, maybe get started on that application process now. You'll have to kind of take a photo and submit it along with other details in order to get that card set up. So now that you've got your email and your student ID, those are kind of the very beginnings of what you're going to be looking at over the next couple of months. The next thing we're going to look at is kind of how to navigate your student account. So the account we're talking about is called MyServiceHub. It's all one word. You've probably come into contact with this throughout your time as an applicant as well. But as a reminder, you're going to log in at my.torontomu.ca and select the tab, again, that black bar along the top, go to the tab for MyServiceHub. You'll want to just be aware it's going to try and open up in a new window. So your browser may think that it's an advertisement trying to pop up, and the pop-up blocker could prevent it from opening. So if you're clicking that tab for MyServiceHub and not seeing anything come up, it's likely that it's a security setting on your browser. You will have to disable pop-up blockers for this aspect of our website. From here, once you get that up, you'll see there's a number of different options, and we're just kind of go over a few of those different options now. So for Student Center, that's kind of a centralized place that contains information that's covered under all of these other tabs. It's going to kind of go into your academics, your classes, your finances. It's sort of the hub for absolutely everything all together. And then the other sections are a little bit more split up based on the sort of subject area. So for academic records or in academics, you can do a number of things. So you can view your advisement report. The advisement report is a tool that's used by your academic advisors and can be used by yourself to kind of track where you are within your degree. It lists out all the courses that you need, what you've taken already, and what's still in progress, or what has left to be taken. So that's usually a really fantastic way to make sure that you are staying on track for graduation. You can, of course, look at your grades for classes. You can look at your unofficial transcript once grades start coming in, or request the official transcript if you need it. You can also request a letter for your RESP funding or for another reason. We've got a number of different letters to request there. And then a bunch of other kind of options that have to do with your academics. Under manage classes, you can confirm when your enrollment dates are. So I can tell you right off the top, as first year students going into a full-time program, your enrollment date is going to be open on August 8th, and it goes until September 15th. But you can always confirm that by checking under the Manage Classes tab. This is also where you can search for classes, see what's offered. You can actually add classes to your shopping cart or add them to your schedule, and actually view the kind of schedule that you have going on as well. Under financial accounts, you can actually do a full account inquiry, which will show all of your charges, your payments, everything coming in and going out of the account. And we'll get into a little bit more detail on that a little bit later in this presentation. But it's really a very helpful tool to kind of track everything that's going on financially with your account. You can, of course, look at your account balance. You can check your charges and when they're due. You can look at your payment history, or if you've maybe made an overpayment or have some additional funds on your account that you don't quite need, you can also request a refund. It also has a document that has a fees and enrollment confirmation, an account statement, and a tuition statement. And then there's also your tax slips. So not something you're probably thinking about right now at this point, but as we get through the school year and actually get into the next calendar year, you may need to file your taxes, or maybe a parent or supporter is doing that with you, but you can look at all of your tax slips off of the MyServiceHub, MyServiceHub page, that is. Under communications, that's going to show a list of all the different communications sent through different parts of the registrar's office. So that could be admissions, student records, curriculum advising, could be information about transfer credits you've applied for or awards that you've received. There can be a number of different types of information located here in the communications section. This is where you can access your offer of admission as well. Nice to kind of have that document for your own records, keeping in mind that you do lose access to the offer of admission after kind of a number of years sitting in your account there. You don't have access forever. So if you do want a hard copy of any of those documents, I recommend that you save those for your purposes now. Under personal details, that's going to cover a number of different things. So you can talk about your chosen name. If you have a name that's aside from what's on kind of your birth certificate, a preferred or a chosen name, you can update that there, as well as your contact details, your address, and your diversity self-ID. So a number of different kind of student profile details that you can update there. Really good idea to make sure that we are up to date on, your phone number and your email address, just in case we do need to reach you for anything. Under financial aid, you can view the details of the scholarships, awards, and bursaries that have been issued to you by TMU, and when the funds are expected to be posted to your MyServiceHub fees account, and kind of more details on the awards that you're receiving from us. Please note, though, that that financial aid tab does not include OSAP funding. To get the details on your OSAP, you have to actually log in to your OSAP portal for more information. This section is specifically for awards that have come from TMU, like as a school. OSAP is sort of a separate entity there. And then the eForms Center is something that you won't really need until you need it, if that makes any sense. You can look at a number of different applications here. You'll kind of come across it throughout your time here. If you're filling out a particular form for a purpose or with your program department, they may direct you to the eForms cabinet, and this is where you're going to find it. So those are the basics of your MyServiceHub account. The next thing we're going to look at is actually viewing your schedule. So one important thing to note is that new students admitted into the first year of a full-time program are automatically enrolled into their fall and winter term required courses in early August. So if you're automatically enrolled into your required courses, your class schedule will appear on your student center in MyServiceHub in early August, likely sometime around August 1st. Then during your enrollment period, which happens from August 8th until September 15th, you have the option of enrolling into your elective fall term courses, and you can make adjustments to your fall term course schedule. So just because you're already enrolled doesn't mean you can't make any adjustments. If there's one course that you're enrolled in, but there's maybe a better time at a different day of the week or something like that, you can make adjustments to your schedule as you go, starting on August 8th. So from August 8th to September 15th, that's going to be for fall courses. And then from August 21st is when you can start playing with your winter term courses. So again, that'll be August 21st until September 15th. you can make adjustments to your winter term course schedule. That would be for courses that are starting in January. In early August, your program department will send you additional information about getting started. So you'll get a little bit more detail on this process, and they can kind of help walk you through it. So keep an eye out on your email for communications from your program department as we approach the school year. In terms of what your schedule actually looks like, when you go to that MyServiceHub page and you go to the tab for Manage Classes, you'll see on the left side all those different options. You're going to look at the one called My Weekly Schedule. And it's going to show you the particular week that you're looking at. And it kind of gives you a grid of the days of the week and times of day. So this is just an example schedule for a student. And you can see it's got the course code as well as the course section. So the first one here, ECN 104, that would be the course code. So if you're looking up a course, and you want to see what the different options are, you'll see they will all say ECN 104, but that -061, that -061 is a course section. So when you're looking, you might actually see a number of different sections available, which will of course mean that they're on different days or at different times. So you can play around with your schedule to see when things are offered and know that there will be different sections potentially for the same course. So now that you kind of know how to look at your schedule, you've been enrolled into your required classes, and you want to know what your next step is for choosing your electives and things like that, the TMU Undergraduate Calendar is going to be an absolutely important resource for you. So check that QR code if you want to have a look at it, but we will have a look at it together as well, because there's a couple of different aspects of the undergraduate calendar that I think are going to be really important for you throughout your time here. So we're looking at the 2023-2024 undergraduate calendar. So you want to make sure it's for the right school year, which this one is. And then under programs and courses, I'm going to select the option for undergraduate programs. So this is kind of just in a very basic sense, it's a roadmap for which courses you need to be taking throughout your time, all the way from first year until the end. So it'll list out all of the different programs based on the faculty that they're in. And we can have a quick look at an example here under Faculty of Community Services is Nutrition and Food. So I'm going to open this up. It gives you some basic details, like it's a full-time four-year program, it's a Bachelor of Applied Science, and it gives you some program overview, curriculum info, admissions info. But what we're going to be looking at now is the section for full-time four-year program. So this is that kind of map that I was referring to. If you've been admitted into a direct entry or a part-time program, some programs will have those various different options. So you want to make sure that you're looking out for your specific program type when you're on this page, so that you're not looking at kind of the wrong courses. But for this one, it's only offered on a full-time four-year basis. So we can have a quick look here. This is the first year for this program. As I said before, those required classes are automatically going to be enrolled by the program department. Just note that this happens in your first year and first year only. As you proceed into later years of your program, you will be expected to do the enrollment yourself for all courses, including required courses. And you'll learn more about it at that time. There's something called a course intention period, but you don't have to worry about course intentions now as a first year student, because they've already been done for you. The next thing you'll want to look at is that elective. So it says liberal studies, you need one course from table A. So we can have a click on that table A and scroll down, and you can see there's a number of different classes available. So there's all different subjects involved in a liberal studies option. This is because they're trying to give you a well-rounded education. So it might actually be outside your area of study, and that's okay. That's kind of what makes university fun, as well as trying new things and exploring different topics. So have a look through it. My recommendation now is to maybe make a bit of a short list of courses that you might be interested in. The reason for that is not every single course on this list is necessarily going to be offered every semester. So if you have an interest in one particular class, and then you find out when you go to enroll that it's not actually offered this year, you want to have a backup. Another item is that some courses are really popular. If there's a course that you really love or you think that sounds really great, there's a chance that other students think the same way, and they may want to actually enroll in that class as well. So sometimes when you get on to enroll and you've got your favorite class picked out, when you go to look for it, there's a chance that it may actually be closed because there's no more seats available. It's not guaranteed that you're going to get a spot. I will say that your enrollment appointment is the earliest of all students at TMU for the fall term. For your first year, you do have the earliest date to enroll. So that's your best chance of getting a spot in a class, but still always a really great idea to have a short list of things that you're interested in. So that's something you can do right now. You can look through. When you click on the course itself, it'll give you more information. If we go to it, it'll confirm it's 1 unit for your GPA. The lecture is 3 hours. It gives you a description, and it confirms there are no prerequisites. So a prerequisite, of course, is a class that you have to take before you can take this one. So it usually happens for classes that sort of build on a sequence. You may notice that some of your core classes, your required classes, have prerequisites for things that are in like second and third year, for example. So all the sort of course details are going to be here on that undergraduate calendar, and you'll kind of get comfortable with navigating that as you go. But yeah, so that's the table A. So you know that, for example, if you were starting with the nutrition and food program this year, that those required classes are already done, you just pick one of those table A courses and you can add that to your calendar. So again, this is kind of a fantastic resource, the undergraduate calendar. It's got all the different kind of policies that we do. I know policies don't sound that too exciting to you right now, but these are things that might actually become important later in your career. So good to know where you can reference and find this information. There's more information about minors, concentrations, different things like that. And then if we go down to policies and procedures, the next thing I would like to point out is the significant dates section. And I cannot stress enough the importance of getting to know this page and getting comfortable with navigating it. It's not something you necessarily think about when you're a brand new student and just getting started, but the university is, a large administrative body. There is always going to be an associated date or deadline with any kind of administrative function that you're using. For example, if you want to drop a course, there's a last day for that, a last day to get a refund if you drop a course, different details like that. And this significant dates page has all of those dates spelled out for you. So really, really good idea to get yourself comfortable and get familiar with this. You can see it shows on the front of the page here, just the kind of upcoming dates. And there's also an option then to add it to your Google Calendar. So if you really want to kind of stay on top of everything and make sure you're not missing any important dates that are coming up throughout the year, I'd recommend adding it to your calendar because it will import it right into your personal calendar and you don't have to kind of navigate back to this page. As we scroll down, you'll see there's a lot of dates listed here. It's a lot of information and, we're absolutely aware of that. There's unfortunately not a super easy way to organize it. But what you can do is actually just search for the item that you're looking for. So, this gives a lot of different deadlines. But if we select search, and I'm going to say, I want to know the last day to drop. And you can see it's going to filter those results for me. And I can have a look. So this is showing kind of in previous terms. But if we continue on, we can look at the last day to drop a fall course and get a full refund of the fees is going to be September 15th. So that makes sense, right? That aligns with the enrollment period that you're falling under. So August 8th to September 15th, that's your time to add, drop, swap, and make any schedule changes that you need. After that day, you're going to have a 50% refund, and that goes until October 6th. So just important things to think about again, not things that you think are necessarily super important ahead of time, because you don't always know the information that you're going to need, but this is really going to be a fantastic place to find that information when you find yourself in that situation. All right, so that was the undergraduate calendar, which allows you to look at which courses you're going to need. The next thing we're going to look at is how to actually add those classes on MyServiceHub. So the QR code for this one links you to our enrollment website, which gives you tons of information and instructions. You can get step-by-step guides on how to do that enrollment process. And that's something that we are going to actually look at right now as well. So you can see on the course enrollment for current students page, talks part 1 about course intentions. Again, you can disregard that for now as a first-year student because you don't actually do course intentions as a first year. But if you continue to scroll down, you can see it's got the enrollment dates, your schedule dates, got a little chart here, and you can see first-year students start at August 8th, and the other students always start a little bit later for your first year. So that's nice. You've got the most amount of time to get yourself situated and get your schedule started. I did see a question come in at one point, which was asking, when can I start looking at classes and getting ready? You can officially start enrolling as of August 8th, but quite likely around August 1st, you'll probably be able to start seeing which classes are going to be offered and potentially even adding those to your shopping cart. Just note that when you add a course to your shopping cart, it doesn't mean that it's holding a spot for you. You have to still go through the enrollment process, but it's nice for your own kind of organization. You can sort of put it aside and get ready. And then when August 8th hits, that's when you can actually start enrolling. So it's usually, a couple days before the actual enrollment period is when you can start looking and getting a sense for what's going to be offered. So got those important dates there for enrollment, changes to your course schedule, and then these are going to be some really important tools for you. So the Visual Schedule Builder, this is a really great tool. You may have noticed when you look on MyServiceHub, it's not necessarily the newest system in the world. It can be a little bit tricky to navigate sometimes. So the Visual Schedule Builder is a nice option because it's a lot more you can drag and drop after you've searched your classes. You can play with different configurations of your schedule and it will display it for you in real time. So you can see, if I switch to the Tuesday class instead of the Thursday class or whatever that is, you can kind of play around with the visual building of your schedule and then enroll for everything all at once. Again, this is not going to be available until early August, probably just before your enrollment period, but I definitely recommend taking a look at that. And the other thing we're going to look at is the MyServiceHub support page, which links here. So this gives you actual screenshots step-by-step on how to do everything. And even though Visual Schedule Builder is great, I also think it's important to be able to just do those basic functions right on your MyServiceHub account, because ultimately everything routes through MyServiceHub. If you have an issue on Visual Schedule Builder, it's not working for you as well, you can just navigate right back to MyServiceHub and just do it directly there. It's sort of cutting out the middle step. So it's important to at least be comfortable knowing where to go for this information. So for MyServiceHub enrollment functions, I'm going to go to how to enroll in classes. Excuse me. And it kind of gives you this general setup for getting onto your student account. And then you can see at the bottom here, it shows option 1, Visual Schedule Builder. So that gives you, again, more information. When you go to this link, how to use the Visual Schedule Builder, that's going to give you like tutorial videos with voiceovers, all of that. So you can take your time and kind of get situated with that. The other option is to enroll, find and enroll for a specific class. I think this is probably one of the most basic functions on your MyServiceHub account. So you can go through Student Center, or you can go through the Manage Classes tile. And then you're going to go to add a course. So the first thing you do is you select the term and the undergraduate career. So that'll be fall 2023 undergraduate. If you have taken Chang School classes before, you may have career that's called continuing education. You're going to want to avoid adding classes to that because you want all of your undergrad courses to be going towards your degree requirements. So if you do see the option for continuing education, you'll want to skip that and go to undergraduate if you are part of that undergrad program. So select the term and the course career and continue. You're going to select the button for class search and go ahead and hit that search button. And then you'll see enter the specific subject and course number. So you see that there's kind of two boxes here. The first box, you're just going to put the letter part of the course code. So say you wanted CRM 100. You would just search CRM in the top box. Then next box down, you're going to put 100. And you'll notice that it's checked off show open classes only. So that means it's only going to show you if the class is actually available. If maybe the class is full, it's not going to come up when you search it this way. If you want to see maybe if it was offered, but it's now full, you can uncheck that box. But just, play with the settings, basically. Make sure that you've got the letter portion in the top box and the number portion in the second box and just hit search. And then you'll see it gives you those different options. So this is what I was referring to before with the different sections available. So you can see there's a Wednesday version of the class, a Monday version. It'll show you the location and it will often show you the instructor as well. So you're just going to select the actual section that you want to take based on your course schedule. And just note if there's a lab component to your class, you will be prompted to select the related class section for the lab as well. And then you're just going to proceed next after it kind of confirms everything that you've selected. There's a lot of different steps. They're all fairly intuitive. You're just going to kind of keep hitting next. But it's still something that you want to make sure you're like looking at the screen and knowing what you're agreeing to. Then it's going to confirm again. It'll look at, tell you about any prerequisites or anything like that. And you'll select next. And then you'll see that it adds it to your shopping cart. So this is a mistake that students sometimes make. They think that if it's in the shopping cart that the spot is reserved or something like that. Unfortunately, that is not the case. It's much like online shopping. If you're going to look up a bunch of clothes and you throw it in the cart, that doesn't mean that you've made the purchase and secured the item. Classes are the same in that way. So it just adds it to your shopping cart at first. So you can keep searching. You can load up your cart if you want before you do the enrollment step. But it does give you that little message. It's added it to your cart, but you're not yet enrolled. So you have to proceed to the next step. So you're going to select the class that you want to actually add and hit enroll. And then you can just proceed. You'll confirm if you selected maybe more than one class, it'll list all those out. You do your final confirmation step and finish enrolling. And then you'll get a status of either a green check mark or an X. So it'll say you have successfully added the class, or if it's giving you a little X, that means that it was not able to enroll you, and it will give you a reason why. It could be that there's a time conflict, like you already have another class at that time, you don't have a prerequisite potentially, or there could be a number of kind of other issues, but you can just double check on that message that it gives you. So that's, again, just the very basic level of how to search and look for a class. And you know exactly where you can find this on our enrollment website. There's another function that I would encourage you to look at as well, is to how to enroll from my classes offered. And that basically will use kind of your advisement report that we talked about earlier. It'll reference the courses you've already done, what's still outstanding, and what's in progress in order to meet your graduation requirements. So you can actually just come through that, and it's going to match up the courses that are being offered with the ones that you need. So if you need a table B course and it shows you that that's missing, it will also show you all the courses that you can use to satisfy that requirement out of what's being offered for the term. So we won't get into too much detail on looking at that today, but when you have the time and at some point before you start enrolling, I do really highly recommend that you look at that option as well. Again, it's going to give you screenshots step by step if you need it. So assuming that everything has gone to plan so far, you've been automatically enrolled in your required classes, you've added your electives and all of that, and it's approaching the start of the school year, The next thing you're going to want to know about is D2L navigation. So D2L is kind of just shorthand for your online courses, content and stuff like that. You'll hear it used pretty frequently in your classes. Your professors will reference it, things like that. You're going to say, check the D2L. So what that means is you're going to log back into that my.torontomu.ca account. And then you're going to go to the tab for online courses and organizations. So it's just beside the MyServiceHub tab, and that's going to have all of your course content. So it'll say welcome back, and it'll say your name. And then below that, it's going to show the different courses that you have registered in. Once you actually click on the course, you'll see a few different options. The first is that there's going to be announcements right on that first page. You can see this screenshot was obviously taken at the end of term because that's an end of term reminder, but you're probably going to have like a beginning of term welcome message, something along those lines. And that's where your professor is likely going to introduce you to the class, kind of go over how things are run. Thank you for joining, all kinds of different info. If you have a class that's canceled or something that's due for the week, your professor might use that space to put up those kind of announcements, so you're staying on top of things. The next piece is going to be content, that tab along the top. That's going to have like things like your course lectures. If you've got slideshows or readings, different things like that, all your course content will be there. You'll be able to check your grades for any assignments submitted through D2L. The assessment piece might contain quizzes, assessments, assignments, different things like that. Communications might have things like message boards or other means of communicating with your classmates. Sometimes your professor may have an assignment in which you have to post a reflection on a certain reading or something like that. That's all going to be under communications. And then resources. So that's primarily going to be course readings, different references, different documentation that you may need to use. So those are kind of like the basic aspects of the different course shell. It might look a little bit different depending on the course and depending on the instructor. One thing we get asked about fairly frequently is, after you've added a course on your MyServiceHub account, you want to be aware that you're not immediately going to see this course now on your D2L shell, because that's more of a manual process. The professor for the class has to get a list of everyone who's added the course, and then they go and add everyone to the D2L shell. And that process can take a little while. If you enroll early August, but your class doesn't start until early September, you may not actually see anything on your D2L until closer to the class begins. Sometimes it could be right up to the first day of classes that you may not see it yet. I understand that can cause a little bit of anxiety for folks sometimes because you want to kind of get ready. Maybe you want to see what textbooks you need for the course. Unfortunately, there's not much we can do about that. You do have to kind of wait for the professor to add you, but if the class is approaching or it's the first day and you still don't see anything, you can always reach out to your professor. Unfortunately, at the Service Hub, we don't have the ability to really do anything with D2L, but the professor for your class should be able to add you in case they missed you. The next aspect we're going to look at is just understanding your fees account. So now that you've got all your courses added, you're enrolled, your schedule's settled, you're going to notice that you do have fees on your account. So when you log in and go to account inquiry or financial accounts, then account inquiry, you're going to see there's all the different terms. At first, it'll probably just be one or two terms because you're new. And then as you continue over here for the course of a few years, you'll see that it builds up, but you can just look at the current term for fees. You'll also notice under account type, it may say residence as well, because that's going to be a separate kind of account where they're going to charge fees. So you still make payments the same way. There's no difference in the style of payment, but it does just go to different parts of the account. So we're going to look at this example fees account. Up at the top, it's going to display any debits, meaning any charges to the account. So at the time that this student was enrolled, it was $4,201, and then credits applied to the account. So that means any payments or credits or anything like that that has come in, and then it will show the overall account balance of 0. So the first box on the left here, which is the red box, that's going to show the line item or the description of what it is. So you can see closer to the bottom, there's that tuition charge. That's definitely the biggest charge on the account. There's ancillary fees for different things. All of the kind of breakdown of those charges is listed there, like the gym membership, all of that. All of those ancillary fees are unfortunately non-negotiable. They are charged to every student, but they really support a lot of fantastic services on campus. So if you want to take advantage of that, we definitely recommend, use the gym, use your special services, use all the different things that we have to offer as part of campus life, because a lot of that is covered with your ancillary fees. You'll also see any payments coming in. So this student up at the top, you can see that they received student loans, student access guarantee, which is a part of OSAP as well. It'll show the term in the next one over. So you can see in this example, there was a lot from fall 2014, because that's the current term. But if you look at the kind of top couple options there, there's something from fall 2013. So that's your way of knowing that, hey, that portion of the student access guarantee was actually transferred over from a previous year. So the term can be important to determine kind of what timeline this money, this charge, or this payment is coming from. The amount is fairly self-explanatory. That's the amount. If it has a negative number, that's a payment or a credit coming in. And then it will show, of course, the balance and the last activity date. So maybe you're waiting on OSAP and you're not sure if it's come in yet. This is the screen to check. So not only will it tell you if it's come in, but it will tell you exactly when it came in as well. So you can compare if you need to know for when you got it to your bank account or something like that. This is going to have the most information for you. So when it comes to fees, this can be a big issue. School is expensive, and we're aware of that. But we do have a number of different options in terms of funding your studies. So just to kind of say it right up the top, we want to discuss when the payment deadlines are. So all student fees are split into 2 payments throughout the school year. So one payment for the fall term that will be just for your fall courses, and then another payment for the winter term, which will be for your winter courses. Again, that starts in January. For the fall term, that would be due on Friday, September 29th is going to be the last day to pay your fees. And then for the winter term, it's Friday, January 26th, 2024. So those are the deadlines that you're aiming for. As a general rule, if you pay by the end of the first month of studies, you're usually okay. That does not include Chang School classes. But if you're planning on taking Chang School classes and you're a full-time student, please reach out to us or check the Chang School website. Their fee payment deadlines are a little different. But for the most part, you're going to be taking undergrad classes, and these are those deadlines. In terms of actually funding your studies, you may have qualified for an entrance scholarship. So if you're like a regular Canadian high school full-time student, you're automatically considered for the entrance scholarship, and you'll be notified via a message in your communications and potentially an email as well, but check your communications to see if you qualify. Any funds like that are going to be automatically deposited right into your student account. So it's not issued as a check or to like your bank that you have to then figure out how to pay. It just goes right to your student account. Half of it is issued in the fall term and the other half is issued in the winter. So they kind of split that up and put it right into your account. In terms of other awards, you can definitely create a profile on Awards Spring to be matched with and apply to different scholarships or bursaries that you may qualify for. So basically, you fill out a profile with all of your details, and it's going to match you up to things that you might qualify for. And that can be based on any number of factors. It could be based on, financial need, academic achievement. It could be based on the particular program you're in, or your gender or racial identity. There's all kinds of different supports and really specific awards out there for people who have any number of different kind of intersecting identities. And it's so important that you just create that profile, and Award Spring really does the legwork for you. It kind of takes care of matching you to anything that you might qualify for, and then you can go ahead and just submit those applications. The other aspect is, of course, OSAP, or government financial aid. So we have a ton of students here at TMU who apply for and receive OSAP. I know I received OSAP when I was a student, and it's the only reason I was able to go to school. So definitely important to start thinking about that now if you do want to apply. So keep in mind, OSAP is for Ontario residents. If you normally reside outside of Ontario or outside of Canada, you can normally apply for financial aid in your home province or country. We do process student loans for out-of-province students, students from the USA, different things like that. So if you don't qualify necessarily for OSAP, you can still look into what financial aid options you have in your home province or country. One thing I will recommend very strongly is to apply for financial aid as soon as possible. It takes about 6 to 8 weeks to process an OSAP application from the time that you submit all your documents. So if there's any kind of delay in processing, or you don't submit your documents up on time, that can delay further and further. And already, 6 to 8 weeks from now puts us at about mid-September. So you want to definitely try and get that OSAP application completed as soon as possible if you have not done so already. If you have an RESP, this is called a Registered Education Savings Plan. I know a lot of students are not entirely sure if they have one of these. You would likely know if you did, or maybe a parent or another supporter might know this on your behalf. It's usually an account that someone has started on your behalf at an earlier time. And sometimes to access that RESP funding, you may have to confirm your enrollment. So we have a letter called the Verification of Enrollment, or sometimes called a Proof of Enrollment letter for new students. It contains all the information that's required by financial institutions, and it's accepted in lieu of forms that they may provide. So sometimes they'll give you a form to fill out, but you should be able to just submit the letter that we create, because we don't actually fill out all kinds of individualized forms at this point. But you can order that letter through your MyServiceHub account at my.torontomu.ca. Just keep in mind that your letter isn't actually released until you've met your admission condition. And then another important detail is to try to request your letter before July 20th if you can. After this date, any letters that are requested can only be produced after you have selected your courses in August, or when you've been enrolled into your courses. So unfortunately, that's just a system limitation that we have no choice but to work around. There's kind of a switch that happens at the end of July and early August that turns you from being an applicant into being a student. This is called the process of matriculation. So while that's going on, there's kind of a pause on letters. So if you do need that RESP funding and you need a verification of enrollment, try to request that before July 20th. After that, you'll just have to wait until you've added your classes to make that request. No matter what, we can get you the letter, it's just a matter of when. So something to keep in mind. In terms of actually how to request that letter, you can go to your academics tab, or I think it's academic records, go to request a letter and just follow the prompts from there. There is a $20 charge for the official letter from TMU, but it should be good for all of your purposes if you need it. Again, you can scan that QR code if you want to have a look at the request process that breaks it down step by step for you. Another thing is for jobs on campus. So TMU's source for on-campus jobs is known as Career Boost. The Career Boost undergrad program provides jobs to full-time undergrad students at TMU. Regardless of your program and year of study, you have access to a diverse set of on-campus job opportunities to apply to. And faculties and departments are regularly looking for talented and engaged students to fill a wide variety of positions, including research, peer advising, administrative, technology-based, social media, and much more. So lots of jobs out there available through our Career Boost program. You can learn more by scanning that QR code. I'll give a special shout out to a couple of the folks who are in our Q&A chat right now. Our Service Hub staff, we've got our very own Career Boost student staff working with you today and answering your questions as they come in. So if that sounds like your dream job, feel free to apply. We do have lots of positions open through Career Boost here at TMU. So as we wrap up here, we're just going to go over kind of a couple next steps. I know we've covered a lot of ground today, but we'll just kind of get through the last couple pieces here, and then we can focus on answering any questions you may have. So one thing that may be of interest to you is called the Summer Jumpstart Program. So that runs from technically as of yesterday all the way until August 18th. So that's going to be a series of different events, workshops, and other experiences for students and their parents and supporters to help you get ready for your first semester. So it's going to offer enhanced summer transition programming for incoming students to ensure that you're feeling ready to be successful as a first-year student. So on the right side there, you can see there's like a few different options. There's community ready, so that's, learning to navigate campus, and it's going to be more like social activities, things like that. There's also math ready, writing ready, study ready, which is going to be really important. Having good study habits is going to take you very far in university. So check out that programming if you wanted to learn more. There's recreation and wellness, all kinds of really great information. That's going to be my first piece of advice to you as a newly admitted student. Take advantage of the resources that we are offering. There's so many different programs and supports and services that are available to you as a university student. It's going to really enrich your university experience. It's going to allow you to network and learn and develop. And it may not seem like the most important thing in the world right now, but having gone through the whole university process and come out the other side, that can be my biggest recommendation is get out there, get involved, and take advantage of the resources because they are there. The next thing is orientation week. So that's happening from August 27th until September 4th. So each year there's like all kinds of new events and programs. There's always going to be academic and program and faculty specific orientation. So incoming students can meet other peers in their program, find out about faculty specific resources, get to know your professors, things like that. There's information on how to access on-campus supports and resources, so new students know how to find what they need after classes begin. And there's tons of social activities, performances, concerts, giveaways, like loot bags, it's all kinds of fun stuff. So definitely recommend checking it out if you're around that week. I know some folks are maybe on vacation at that time and maybe you're away. If so, that's okay too. You can definitely get yourself situated once you start with classes, but it's not a bad idea to check it out if you're around. Another item I wanted to point out I know that there are some international folks in the room with us today. International student support is a really great resource for you as well. They've got specifically immigration support, you need help with your study visa. They do welcome appointments to help you get situated, cultural and social support to get you comfortable on campus, get you comfortable in Canada. They can even help you when you're arriving at the airport and getting yourself situated. They've got a lot of different kind of newcomer and family support. They can help you advise on your action plans, on your next steps. We understand it can be an overwhelming process starting university, especially as an international student. So please do reach out to International Student Support. They are absolutely there to help you out, and they would love nothing more than to hear from you and to help you kind of get yourself situated. The final piece is getting in touch with your academic department. So a lot of what we covered today is about enrollment and things like that. But to some extent, the Service Hub can only do so much when it comes to enrollment. The academic advisor with your department will be here to support you academically throughout your time here at TMU. So they'll be able to assist you with course selection, connect you with support services. They host orientations and workshops and other activities to make the most of your time here. And you can look out for emails from your program department starting in August to your TMU email address. So they'll get in touch with you. They're going to reach out about different opportunities, but you can always scan that QR code if you wanted to get their contact information, and you can reach out to them. And then finally, you can just access our services. So You can give us a call. We've got live chat on our contact page. You scan that QR code at the bottom there. That takes you to our contact page. And that's got all the different sort of methods for contacting us here at the Service Hub. So again, I thank you so much for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure to present to you folks. I can say that on behalf of everyone at the Service Hub, we are very excited to have you join us in September. We congratulate you on your offers of admission and hope to see you soon. So thank you so much for everything, and be sure to reach out if you do have any further questions. We're just going to wrap up the last few questions in the Q&A pod, and then we will close the session. Thank you.